The 911 system was designed for the worst day of your life. But for some people, the worst day of their life involves a broken hairdryer or a rude parrot. Today, we're not exploring heroic rescues. We're plugging into the National Switchboard of Stupidity to count down 30 of the most mind-bogglingly absurd reasons people have actually dialed for help in the United States. 1. Apparently, the greatest tragedy of our time is a canceled TV show. One caller treated it as a genuine crisis, dialing 911 to report their emotional devastation and demanding to know who would pay for this crime. The dispatcher, a true hero of de-escalation, simply suggested they find something new to binge watch. 2. You know your day is going poorly when your own parrot turns on you. A man called 911 claiming his feathered roommate was hurling non-stop insults at him. He demanded police intervention to talk some sense into it. The dispatcher had to gently inform him that avian behavioral therapy was, shockingly, outside their jurisdiction. 3. Proving that some people will try anything to beat traffic, one driver called 911 for legal advice on the carpool lane. His passenger? A mannequin. His brilliant legal argument. It was wearing a hat, so it technically counted. The dispatcher had to clarify that hats, unfortunately, do not grant inanimate objects personhood. 4. A major crisis unfolded when a woman dropped a single piece of candy on her floor. Unable to locate it, she called 911, worried that someone stepping on it would ruin the whole room's vibe. Forget a fire, this was an emergency of interior decorum. The dispatcher recommended a thorough search under the couch. 5. Forget international espionage. The real threat is sandwich sabotage. One man dialed 911, convinced his lunch had been maliciously altered because it tasted wrong. He requested a full police investigation into the culinary crime. The dispatcher suggested a less dramatic first step, asking a coworker if they'd used his mustard. 6. In a bold attempt to apply human law to the animal kingdom, one resident called 911 about a neighbor's rooster. It was crowing too early, and they wanted officers to formally issue the bird a noise complaint. Police did respond, but ultimately could only suggest the human invest in a good pair of earplugs. 7. Some people see a revolving door. This tourist saw an inescapable circular prison. They called 911 in a full-blown panic, claiming to be trapped and going in circles for minutes. By the time emergency services were en route to stage a daring rescue, the victim had somehow discovered the ancient secret of just stepping forward. 8. This might be the most delicious emergency on record. Someone actually called 911 because their ice cream was melting too quickly, and they wanted to know if the police could save it. The dispatcher, likely holding back laughter, had to advise them that the best life-saving procedure in this case was immediate consumption. 9. Even adults need someone to check under the bed sometimes. A man called 911 after a bad dream, seriously requesting that an officer come over to conduct a thorough monster sweep. The dispatcher professionally confirmed that there were no active monster threats in his area and advised him to go back to sleep. 10. Never underestimate the sheer gangster-level confidence of a goose. A man was held hostage in his own driveway by a territorial gaggle of them, calling 911 to report the standoff. He described them as dangerously territorial. But this avian crime syndicate mysteriously dispersed the second the police cruiser pulled up. 11. When parental authority fails, why not call in the tactical unit? A mother dialed 911 because her kids were fighting over the remote, and she wanted the police to come sort them out. You have to admire the dispatcher who, instead of sending in a hostage negotiator, simply suggested the ancient art of the timeout. 12. One dog owner called 911 to report a theft of sorts. Their dog had eaten the TV remote and refused to return it. They genuinely asked if police could assist in the retrieval mission, as if every squad car is equipped with a high-tech, bacon-scented remote-ectomy kit for exactly these situations. 13. A caller breathlessly reported a suspicious individual lurking in their neighborhood, giving a detailed description of the shady character. Then, mid-call, a moment of horrifying realization dawned on them. They were describing their own reflection in a storefront window. I'm sure the responding officers had a good laugh. 14. Some sports fans take losing hard, but this one tried to make it a federal case. They dialed 911 because their team was losing, claiming it was unfair and demanding the police intervene to secure a win. The dispatcher had to gently explain that arresting the referee wasn't an option, no matter how bad the call was. 15. A man dialed 911 in a state of high alert to report a suspicious package left on his porch. Officers arrived, ready for a potential bomb threat, only for the man to have a sudden epiphany. The dangerous contraband? His new shoes. You have to wonder if he was just really embarrassed by his choice of footwear. 16. In a chilling tale of interspecies paranoia, a man called 911 to report a squirrel staring at him through his window with clear criminal intent. He insisted the squirrel's gaze was threatening and that it was up to something, presumably planning a highly sophisticated heist on his bird feeder. The dispatcher chose not to deploy the tactical unit. 17. For one driver, a red traffic light wasn't an inconvenience. It was a personal injustice demanding immediate government intervention. They called 911 to complain about being late and demanded an officer come fix it immediately. This suggests a belief that police cars are equipped with a secret turn all lights green button for the truly entitled. 18. Welcome to the dark side of suburbia, where a perfectly manicured lawn is cause for alarm. A woman dialed 911 to report her neighbor's grass was too perfect and therefore unnatural. She wanted the police to investigate this horticultural sorcery, perhaps by interrogating the lawn gnomes or running a background check on the fertilizer. 19. One pizza lover believed their constitutional rights extended to custom crust geometry. They called 911 when a pizzeria refused to cut their pie into a star shape, calling it a violation of their rights as a paying customer. The dispatcher had to break the news that the Bill of Rights is disappointingly silent on the subject of novelty pizza shapes. 20. Proving that the modern wilderness is paved and has an orange Julius, a woman called 911 because she was lost inside a shopping mall. Describing a state of total disorientation, she required an emergency extraction from the treacherous shoe department. Officers bravely led her through the commercial jungle back to the safety of the parking lot. 21. A bad hair day escalated into a full-blown civil emergency for one woman whose hairdryer suddenly died. She called 911, claiming she couldn't go out in public in such a state and asked if the police could help repair the device. It seems she was hoping for a SWAT team skilled in both tactical entry and small appliance repair. 22. In a truly modern crisis, a cafe's faulty Wi-Fi prompted a call to emergency services. A woman demanded police do something about her inability to refresh her Instagram feed, treating the lack of internet as a public menace. The dispatcher heroically suggested the revolutionary solution of walking to a different cafe. 23. One man attempted to use 911 as a customer service line with the authority to make arrests. He called because his Uber driver refused to detour for fast food. He genuinely wanted the police to order the driver to get him a burger, effectively trying to turn a traffic stop into a trip through the drive-thru. 24. Forgetting your Facebook password is the new home invasion, apparently. A user called 911 in a panic after being locked out of their account, demanding immediate police assistance to avert a social media catastrophe. The dispatcher had to inform them that the cybercrime unit was, in fact, busy with actual crimes. 25. A massive manhunt was requested for a fugitive of the furriest kind. A pet owner called 911 after their hamster escaped, demanding to know if police could dispatch a K9 unit to track the scent. You have to wonder if they envisioned a German shepherd trying to follow the trail of a single sunflower seed. 26. A man called 911 convinced his house was haunted by a snack-stealing ghost that also enjoyed rearranging furniture. He was ready for an exorcism, but the police investigation revealed something far more terrifying. His roommate was just a prankster. I'm not sure which is worse, a ghost or a roommate who eats your chips. 27. The great toilet paper shortage of 2020 apparently created some lasting trauma. One woman called 911 because her favorite store was sold out of her preferred brand. She didn't want advice. She demanded that the police locate and facilitate an emergency delivery, as if they controlled the nation's strategic quilted reserves. 28. Defeated by a piece of plastic and a few buttons, a person called 911 for tech support. They couldn't figure out their new universal remote and asked if an officer could swing by and program it for them. This caller clearly envisioned a to serve and program motto for their local police department. 29. One aspiring chef treated 911 as a culinary hotline, calling in a panic because they needed a recipe for meatloaf immediately. They claimed it was an emergency dinner situation and asked if the dispatcher had the official police-approved version. The dispatcher had to clarify they only provide recipes for disaster. 30. One shopper, feeling robbed, called 911 to report a crime. The thief, a vending machine that took their dollar. They weren't just seeking a refund. They demanded the police come and arrest the inanimate object for theft. The machine, exercising its right to remain silent, was not taken into custody. All right, confession time. We've all had that moment of irrational panic over something completely ridiculous. So be honest in the comments. What's the one non-emergency you were this close to calling for help over? Your darkest, dumbest, almost 911 moment. No judgment. Well, maybe a little. If these calls made you feel better about your own life choices, dispatch a like and subscribe for more.